Okay, today we're going to rotate the tires and inspect the brakes on a 2000 Maxima. This is the wonderful, like $159 Harbor Freight jack. It's a low-profile jack. Now it is a brace that's a load-bearing member. And because it's a load-bearing member, you're not going to damage the bottom of your car. A lot of people like to jack right here. This plate is where your factory jack goes when you have to change your tire. But if you use a regular jack on this, you'll end up bending it. And the nice part about this, and the car is so rigid, that when I jack it up, if you look at the back wheel, you'll be able to see that the whole car comes off the ground. So you can jack it up here now. Pan back to the back wheel. Now, we've got the whole car off the ground on one side, okay? If you don't have an impact wrench, use a breaker bar. And you can use your tire tool in your car, or you can go to Harbor Freight, get a breaker bar. Or if you've got a compressor, you get yourself an impact wrench. Harbor Freight's a great deal. Sears sells it, Kmart, Target. Essentially what you do is you break the lug nuts loose before you raise it off the ground. That way the car is allowing you to undo the lug nuts. If you have it up in the air, the tire is going to spin and you're not going to break anything loose. Same thing holds true when you put it back on the ground. If you don't have an air tool and you have a breaker bar, tighten the lug nuts down best you can, center everything up before it's on the ground. Once you put it on the ground, then torque them. It's also a good idea to get a torque wrench so you don't over torque the lug nuts. And we were talking about torque wrenches. This is a torque wrench. A torque wrench keeps you from over torquing a bolt and breaking it off, or under torquing it and having your wheel fall off, or having, say, a head gasket leak. You have to have specific torque values. This is a click type torque wrench, $100 Sears, probably $35 at Harbor Freight or online. Essentially, these numbers correspond to the torque value in the book that you get. Nissan torques their lug nuts to 85 foot-pounds. You set this at 85 foot-pounds, you torque the lug nuts, you don't over-torque them. If you over-torque them, you risk breaking them off or warping your rotors. If you under-torque them, you risk having the wheel fall off. So you don't want to use an impact wrench to tighten your lug nuts, and you don't want to tighten them without a torque wrench because you know the value. It's a lot better on your wheels, it's a lot better on your studs, especially dealing with Japanese metal since it's soft metal. You don't want to start it with the impact, you want to start it by hand. When you start it by hand, you know you haven't cross-threaded it. This is a start pattern. So you're going this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. That way you evenly apply the load to the wheel, you do not warp the rotor. Let it roll it in. Okay, now we're going to torque them. And when I say torque them, you don't want to use the impact wrench to tighten your wheels down, you'll warp your rotor. Want to do the deed? Push the wheels. And again, we're doing this in a star pattern because we want to apply an even torque. Hear it click. Do the back one. Okay, go around the other side. He's going to do the other two, and we're there. Something that should be noted, a lot of American cars, it's like 95 to 98 foot-pounds of torque. Remember, you're dealing with Japanese, recycled metal. If you tighten it to 98 foot-pounds, you are going to break your lug off. so the studs will snap off. So 85 foot-pounds, regardless of what some shop tells you, make sure you don't go over 85 foot-pounds.